I started at school. I started acting at school. We did The Wizard of Oz, and I played the Scarecrow, and I really loved that. But then I was very fortunate. I grew up in Liverpool, and they had a great theatre scene there, and they had people like Willie Russell and Alan Bleasdale and stuff. They had two great theatres, the Playhouse and the Everyman. And I ended up going to the Everyman Youth Theatre, which was run by a real famous guy in Liverpool called Roger Hill. And we did all sorts. We did street theatre, we did big musicals, we did straight plays, we did Shakespeare. And that was my education, really. And then from then on, I applied and I went to RADA. I was lucky enough to get into RADA. And that's when I came to London. Well, my TV watching really, was the 70s shows like, Cold Hits, but I also watched a lot of Hollywood musicals. But there was two things that really suddenly made me think that acting was a profession I wanted to pursue. And one was an episode of Cold Hits that starred Michael Bryant. And it was an episode where one guy goes to the escape committee and he says he's got an idea of how to escape. In the Geneva Convention, if he goes mad, they have to send him home. So he was going to pretend to go mad. And your whole episode was watching this man go mad. And he swore all the escape committee to secrecy because he needed everybody else to think he was going mad. And at the end of the episode, he gets sent home from the Geneva Convention, and the British commander comes in and says, I've got a letter from Jones's wife. And he reads this letter to say that he actually has gone mad. He's sent himself insane and he's gone. And I was so moved by it. It was unbelievable. And then my second thing was Kes. Because when I watched Kes, I couldn't see the join. Every other film I'd ever seen, I knew they were performing. I knew that they had costumes on. I knew that they were saying scripts, lines and stuff like that. And I was fine with that. And then when I saw Kes, I knew it was a drama, but I didn't know how it worked because it was just like my school. It was just like people I knew. It was a story that, that it had no frills around it, and it was like a documentary to me. And it was suddenly I realized that you could do things with film that were about people I knew and stories that happened to me. And it sort of, I started seeing drama in a different way from then on, as less escapist, really. I think there's lots of advice I've been given about how you do the job, but the one thing that really rang true for me as far as being an actor in the profession is that you should never take anything personally, that you will be rejected all the time. People will say no to you all the time, that you are always too tall, too short, too fat, too thin, too ugly, too good looking. You're always too something for the job, and you have to just let that go and get on with the next thing. It's the hardest thing to do, and it's sort of the bit of advice I come back to myself and remind myself of all the time. But it's a fantastic job, but it is also the sense that it's about rejection. It's about people saying no and kicking your ego. And, you'll be amongst a lot of friends who have had that done to them in the profession, but you just need to build it's a double thing that you have to do is you have to build a thick skin, but be open to everything. And it's a real great trick if you can do it.